No, but what it is my notes, for some reason when I pasted this in, it goes verse 5, verse 7, verse 6, verse 7 again, verse 8. All right. So we're skipping around a little bit. All right. Sorry about that. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, watch this, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. Folks, this is your multiple personality disorder. This is your dissociative identity disorder. Folks, it's not one person who has many personalities or one person who has many identities. What it is there's the person and then there are the demons that are living inside them. And when they're talking to this name and that name, they're talking to this demon and that demon. So here we have an example of someone possessed by multiple demons saying, well, you know, my name's Legion because we are many. Okay, so multiple entities living there. Go to Matthew chapter 17. Another thing that we saw there with the demon possession, not only did we see the multiple personalities or the dissociative identity, where Jesus isn't really talking to the guy inside, he's talking to the demons that are indwelling him, but we also saw the self-destructive behavior, right? Cutting himself with stones. And folks, this is a big thing. I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, these Gothics that would be cutting themselves and lancing themselves, and they had all these scars of cutting themselves. Folks, that is a demonic activity. Yeah. Someone who is cutting themselves is either A, demon-possessed, or B, mimicking someone who's demon-possessed and trying to be like, yeah, I can be like Trent Reznor or something, you know, I can be like whoever, you know, because they have heroes that are demonic. Yeah. But it's demonic. Make no mistake about it. Making cuttings in your flesh for the dead is in the same breath with, you know, eating blood and practicing witchcraft in Leviticus 19. The prophets of Baal, who are worshiping Satan, they cut themselves until the blood gushed out. Here we see a demoniac in Mark 5 cutting himself. Folks, people who are doing that are either demon-possessed or they're following stars amongst these. I don't think Gothic's a thing anymore. I guess now it's been replaced by emo. Is that right? Or is that a little bit of a different thing? Who knows? Emo's gone too? Man, I need to get up to date here. So who's cutting themselves these days? Who are the demoniacs these days?
Emo is still alive and strong.
All right, emo's alive and well, according to one source. All right. So anyway, the point is that, you know, this is the devil wanting people to destroy themselves. Look down at your Bible at Matthew 17:15. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he's a lunatic. And what does lunatic mean to us? When we hear the word lunatic, we think somebody's crazy. Right? They're nuts. He's lunatic. Comes from the word luna, like lunar, like the moon, like they're something, you know, they're crazy. Over the moon, crazy, yeah. So he's lunatic and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire and oft into the water. So here's a guy, he's throwing himself in the fire. The demon's throwing him in the fire or throwing him in the water, cutting himself. This kind of self-destructive, self-harming behavior, multiple personalities. 23% of schizophrenics practice self-harm. 10% have already attempted suicide. Now, here's the thing with schizophrenia could be, now look, multiple personality and dissociative identity disorder is right here for sure. They're demon-possessed. All right, no question about that. Now, some types of schizophrenia can be this over here because of the fact that sometimes what's called schizophrenia is really crossing the line over into psychosis a little bit, where it's a different reality. But the reason that I put a lot of schizophrenia in this category right here is because I wanted to use the box of crayons, number one. But number two is because of the fact that schizophrenia a lot of times involves people hearing voices and telling them to do bad things, telling them to hurt themselves, telling them to cut themselves, telling them to hurt other people. And they talk to these imaginary friends who tell them to do bad things. Well, guess what? That's demonic right there. So that's why I'm lumping that in. But some people who could have been diagnosed schizophrenia, you know, if they're not hearing these kind of voices and having these other entities and personalities, then, you know, they could just be more in this category. So I'm not trying to just draw like a hard line necessarily, but we need to understand the three sources of these issues that people are having in their brain. Okay, so now let's move on to this right here. Okay, the psychopath. Go to Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4. While you're turning to Ephesians chapter 4, so let's review here. We got the psychotic, and then we got here the multiple personalities or schizophrenic, and then over here we have the psychopath. The psychopath is the person what do they not have? Conscience. They don't have a conscience. And even the world will tell you this. If you watch that documentary that Pastor Jimenez made, I mean, they show all kinds of interviews with psychologists and psychiatrists saying, these people can't be fixed.